These 2 seats are open here because Ted would love to be here this morning, would love to show you folks and even give you a little bit of his story. But when you're a family and when you're friends of somebody that close that's fighting this, and when you're friends and colleagues of Sylvia Hatchell and fighting with her and what she's gone through in her family, it's got to make you want to do even more. After Sylvia's thing and Ted's thing 3 years ago, I made a deal with myself that I devote 6 days every year that I'm going to go somewhere, do something for cancer research, Coaches versus Cancer, or anything that we can do. Last year at this breakfast, we had a young lady that had fought a battle with cancer, and she was in remission, but it came back almost immediately after this breakfast, and she's not with us anymore. And we've got to understand that these kind of things, when they touch you close, every little thing we can do, Ned Sharpless and Shelley, you guys understand, this money goes to help find these cures. It's a tough, tough battle. So this morning when we get into the auction part, do as much as you possibly can to help us raise some more money to see if we can fight this. I love the crowd here, 10 straight years. It's a thrill for me, young lady, to have you up here. It's even a thrill for you to have your hair back. I like that. You looked a little weird with that shaved head, I'm telling you. I just wish I'd seen the mohawk in the hospital. That's what I wish I'd seen. Ladies and gentlemen, Sylvia Hatchell here.
Yeah, when I came in, I got here early this morning about 6:15 really, and you know, some people were around and they said, Coach, it's good to see you. I said, it's good to be seen. You know, I tell you, and this morning it's not about me, but it's about the Lineberger Cancer Center. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about, but I'm going to get my commercials out of the way. First of all, I have to recognize my staff. They're all here. You guys stand up. They're all here back there in the back. Come on, stand up. They did an unbelievable job last year, took the team to the Elite Eight, only missed the Final Four by 3 buckets in my absence. And as I'm back this year, I told them, I said, I just don't want to mess you guys up. You know, so, but Andrew was in charge and they just did an unbelievable job, and I appreciate that so very, very much. But this is about the Lineberger Cancer Center today, and you know, I don't have that much time. I got a lot of pictures. So we're going to put some up in just a few minutes. But you know, I do want to talk to you about the Lineberger Cancer Center, but the first thing is, when I took the job here in '86, the men moved over here to the Smith Center, and we moved in to Carmichael. And I went in, and I'm thinking, I have Dean Smith's old office. You know, here's his desk, and here's this chair, and it was an old chair, and it was navy blue, and it was worn out. And I thought, well, I want to use his chair. So I contacted, did some research, and found out that Tommy Shores at Carolina Leather had donated that chair to Coach Smith. And so Moyer Smith and some of the guys helped me get in touch with him, and he came over and he said, Coach, yes, I donated that many years ago, back in the '60s, to Coach Smith, and he said, I'll cover it for you. And so I said, okay. So he covered it and made it a beautiful Carolina blue. And I used it until we remodeled Carmichael about 5 years ago. And so because it wasn't state property, it was a donation type thing, we put it in storage, and it actually ended up in my garage. And I'm thinking, what can we do with this chair? Well, one of you guys want to pull that sheet off of that chair? There it is. I want you to come up here and look at this, because right now, and I've talked to Roy, and I talked with Linnea and Scott Smith, and we're going to donate this to the Lineberger Cancer Center to be auctioned off next year. Okay, we're going to have a year out there that we're going to let people see this chair, because the history is Coach Smith sat in it for probably 20-some years, and then, you know, I used it for 24 years. But it's a great chair, and it is the real deal. Scott, you know, he said, oh, I remember all this, and then also the Rams Club people. So that's the history of this chair. So you can come up and look at it and everything, and we will auction it off next year, the Lineberger Cancer Center, and I've asked for the money to go to leukemia, so you can come up and check that out a little bit later. So, but I do want to just share with you a little bit about the Lineberg Cancer Center because it means so much to me. And even before I got sick last year, in year 2000, I bought some land up in the mountains, and I had a blueberry patch on it, and we've added to it every year. We have 240 blueberry bushes up there now, and we have signs up, and it's up on the screen there, you can see. And this was actually this spring after I got a little bit of hair there in that picture, but that's my golden retriever, Maddie, who took care of me all this year. But this is up in the mountains, and you can see it says Lineberger Cancer Center Blueberry Patch, and people, it's an honor system. They come and pick blueberries and make donations to the Lineberger Cancer Center. So, that's been something that's been real special to me for a long period of time, and also. But the year 2013 was a great year for me because starting off, I got my 900th win. We had the #1 recruiting class in the country. I was inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame. I mean, it's just, things couldn't have gotten much better. And you see pictures up there now. They're going to put pictures up as I talk. This is accepting the Naismith Hall of Fame. Coach Roy was over there. He came up for it. Bubba came up for it. A lot of the university folks. It just doesn't get any better for a basketball coach than the Naismith Hall of Fame. In fact, the University of North Carolina is the only school in the country where the men and women's basketball coaches are members of the Naismith Hall of Fame. And the next picture is John Swafford. He hired me here at North Carolina back in '86, and John was there. He was actually one of the first people to sign up to go to the Hall of Fame, and I owe a lot to John Swafford. And even though he's the commissioner of the Atlantic Coast Conference, there is no doubt that his blood is Carolina blue. Okay, no doubt about it. Now, it was a great year, and after the Naismith Hall of Fame, once in a while I go up to the mountains, and I got a couple best friends. I think the next picture is one of my buddies. That's Smokey. That's my Tennessee Walker. I don't get to ride it a lot, but I love to go ride, and that's one of my favorite things to do. So that's one of my best friends. But after the Naismith Hall of Fame, I knew whenever I went up there that my white blood count was low. And I'd been to 5 different doctors. Nobody could tell me why. And so after I got off the road recruiting, I had another physical and another exam in the first week of October. And it was still low, like real low, like 1.3. And so I was sort of tired of it. So I called Debbie Dibbert right here. And Debbie, wave your hand there. And I'd worked a lot with Debbie on different projects for Lineberger. And I said, Debbie, I want a bone marrow biopsy. And that was on a Wednesday, and she said, they called me back a few minutes later and said, Coach, we can't get you in tomorrow, but we'll get you in Friday morning. I said, okay. So I came over on Friday morning, had the bone marrow biopsy, had practice that afternoon, home that night, about 8:20, Dr. Voorhees calls me and tells me that my diagnosis was acute myeloid leukemia. Now, you talking about getting hit by a tsunami and my world changing, because that next week was fall break, and I was giving the kids a few days off. I had a promo on Tuesday with Ricky Skaggs, and then on Thursday we're riding horses through Biltmore for one of their commercials for Biltmore, the Biltmore House up there. You see the commercials on TV all the time, and all of a sudden it's just like, wow, and he said, Coach, we got to get you in here and get our arms wrapped around this. And I said, like when? He said, like tomorrow. I said, tomorrow's Saturday. He said, Coach, this is serious. And so I had to meet with my staff and all and everything. And then so I went in on Saturday, went in the cancer center, and it was just like a bad dream. But on Sunday afternoon, when I was supposed to be having practice, I had to tell my team what was happening and that I had leukemia. And the next picture is when I met with my team. And you can see there, I've already got a mask on, but the girls are there, and you may not be able to see, but there's a rope there on the table, and the girls are all holding the rope for me. Okay, we talked about holding the rope, and that they all put their hands on that rope, and we took that picture on that Sunday afternoon when we were supposed to be in Carmichael practicing. And because as soon as I left them, I went upstairs and they started chemo for a week. Solid for the whole week, and then at night they would give me other strong, high-powered doses of chemo. So And then the next picture is in the hospital. A lot of my players, see, I still have my hair there. My former players, I couldn't see them because my immune system was so low and my chances of infection. But one of them came over with the mask, and they gave me this lion for courage. All right, they gave me the lion for courage, and that was my inspiration. But as soon as I got home, my very best friend is my golden retriever, Maddie, and Maddie thought it was hers. So she adopted the lion, and she still, to this day, she sleeps with that lion, you know. But that lion was courage. Now, I'm going to tell you, Lineberger Cancer Center, how good they are, all right? Because I was on the chemo and all, and different ones were coming to see me. And Ned Sharpless, right over here, Ned came in, and I said, Ned, when am I going to start losing my hair? He said, when do they start chemo? And I told him. He said, probably next Sunday afternoon about 3 o'clock. I'm like, okay. Well, that next Sunday afternoon about 3 o'clock, I reached up and I had a handful of hair. You know, and so that, and the next morning, you know, on the pillow, my hair was everywhere. And so I called my friend, the girl that cuts my hair, and I said, Wanda, come over here. We're gonna shave it off. You know, I don't want to reach up there every few minutes and pull it out. And so anyway, she came over, and I decided, you know what, we're gonna have a party here. So we did. In my room, I invited some of the doctors. John Strader's here. He came, the nurses and all. And so they buzzed off one side, and then they flipped my hair over and looked like a punk rocker, and then they buzzed off the other side, and then there's my mohawk. You see that? That's my mohawk. And they were taking pictures and hooping and having a good time and everything. And then when they buzzed off the mohawk, I had a rat's tail in the back. So, and then when they buzzed all that off, it was done, and the next picture that's the finished product there. So, and then I thought, okay, this next Thursday night, the football team has a Thursday night game, ESPN, and, you know, I want to show my support. So the next thing we did is they painted Go Heels on the back of my head. So there's a picture of that. Like I said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now, so much of what happens to you is your attitude. You know, I could have easily been so upset about losing my hair and all, but you know what? It was something I had to deal with. I couldn't control the fact that my hair was going to come out, but I could control how I handled it and the attitude that I had. And so, you know, hey, you deal with it. And so I did. And then I knew that exercise was extremely important. So Claudio Battolini, Claudio's right here, and he is an exercise sports science person here on campus, and he is also in oncology. And he's a crazy Brazilian, and all my girlfriends just love him to death. So, but Claudio would come every day and we'd work out. The whole time I was in the Lineberger Cancer Center, a total of 2 months together, 4 different times, I never put on a hospital gown. I never put on pajamas. And I always wore a dry fit Carolina t-shirt, gym shorts, a warm-up pants or whatever. And I worked out almost every day because I know how important that is to your recovery. I'm stretching there. These are some pictures of working out in the Lineberger Cancer Center. One was there of doing pull-ups in the room there in the hospital, and Claudio there helping me out. And then that picture right there is Claudio and I walking the halls in the Lineberger Cancer Center. 17 times around, the 4th floor up there is a mile. And trust me, I got a lot of miles, all right, around that cancer center up there. But your exercise is such an important part of all that you do there in the cancer center. And that's one of my goals is to get a workout room over there for the chemo patients so they can work out. Because not one time did I work out did I not feel better after I worked out. Sometimes when I'd go in for treatments and they'd do 2 hours of chemo, as soon as they'd unhook me, I'd get up and go out, walk, exercise. It always made me feel better. So exercise is an important part of it. And then my doctors, let's go to the next slide there. That's Dr. Voorhees. That's my head coach. Now, he's not here this morning because he's on rounds over at the Cancer Center right this minute. He called me. He said, you know, I'm on rounds this week, and I won't be able to be there. But I called him my head coach, you know, and he laid the game plan down for me. And these guys are so good. And the next picture is Tom Shea. Dr. Shea is head of the bone marrow unit over there, and these guys were coming to see me and keeping a watch on me the whole time I was there. And then the next slide is John Strader. John's right here, and I want to say something about John because he's getting ready to retire from the UNC Limburger and system there on November the 1st, and on December the 1st, the man is leaving to go to Liberia to treat the Ebola folks. Yeah. He's going to leave and go over and take care of the Ebola folks. So, you know what? And Monday morning at 10 o'clock, he's doing my 6-month checkup with my bone marrow biopsy. I will have my bone marrow biopsy on Monday morning. So you guys say a prayer for me then. But John has done, I've had 6, and he's done 5 of them. And he is unbelievable on what he does. But, you know, these people are so good at what they do over there. You know, I'm showing you pictures, and I'm calling them out because of the care that they gave me. And you know what? It's not just because I'm the women's basketball coach here. They treat everyone the same. I was over there 4 times, and every time I was there was a prisoner on my hall. A prisoner on my hall. You say, well, how do you know? Well, there was a guard inside, a guard at the door, you know? Because cancer, it doesn't matter, you know, how much money you make, what your title is, what your color your skin is, what your age is. You know, that doesn't matter. And the same thing with the Limburger Cancer Center. You know, Limburger wants to be the #1 public cancer center in America. All right, and we're close to it right now. We're not one yet, but we're close to it, and I want to help them be #1. Now, the private hospitals, you know, there's several around, one close by here to us, you know, Vanderbilt, MD Anderson, there's some that are private. They can pick and choose their customers, but Limburger's public. They treat everybody the same, whether you're a prisoner or you're a coach here at North Carolina, and that's what makes them so special. Now, when I went home after my month there in the hospital, I went home. I went into deep remission. All right, I went into it really quick, and so 5 days later, you know, I'm going back over to start my treatments. But while I'm at home, my golden retriever, she took care of me. There's Maddie. We're sitting on the front steps at my house, and whenever I got home, I hadn't seen her in a month. And when we pulled up at the house, of course, my head was completely bald, and I opened the car door, and she came up, and my husband was holding on to her. And she came up, and she started gradually crawling up on me, and then she started licking my bald head. Like, you know, I'll make it better. I'll make it better. And so, again, you just don't know how much something like that means to you. And I'm on the couch, and there she is laying up beside of me on the couch. And also, like I said, she knew something was wrong, and she took care of me. Now, even when I was at home, I exercised every day. Claudia would come to the house, and there we are. It's a cold, cold morning, probably in January, February, and we're going out to walk because I knew how important that was. And then even when I was at home, every 48 hours, I'd have to go back to the Limburger Cancer Center for either blood or platelets. I probably have set a record on platelets, okay, over there, because I was getting 1 and 2 dosages of platelets at pretty much every 48 hours. You know, but the people in the infusion lab, I can't say enough things about them. This was on my birthday, February the 28th, and that's the crew at the infusion lab on my birthday. And so they all have their special part that they do. And then throughout the year, even though I couldn't be on the sideline with the team, I was still coaching, not with the kids because I couldn't be there because my immune system was gone, but I would go over when my numbers weren't real low, and I would meet with the team. This was pre-game meal before one of our big games, probably the Duke game or something, and this is when I was talking to the players, and I actually did take my mask off while I was talking to them. I wasn't supposed to do that. So anyway, the doctors will fuss at me about that. But I did take it off as I talked to the team. So I was still being very involved, and thank goodness for technology because they'd film practice every day, put it on the satellite, and I could watch it on my iPad. You know, but I say it was so hard not being around those kids. But, you know, just a few months earlier, I had gotten the Naismith Trophy. And this is not being disrespectful to the Naismith Trophy, but that's what I used it for. Okay? That's on the counter in my kitchen, and that's my wig. That's my wig. But it has a basketball at the top of the Naismith Trophy, and it was perfect for me to set my wig on. All right? So you do what you have to do in situations like this. You see a couple hats there, but it was perfect. And I would keep my wig on the Naismith Trophy. And you know what? It helps you keep things in perspective. It really does. And then, it was so hard for me. I got to go to a few games. I'd have to sit up in the top, and there I am in the top of Carmichael, and John Strader is over here with me. Like I said, he's getting ready to go to treat the Ebola people. John sat with me at several games, and I'd sit up in the top because I couldn't be around the players, and that was so hard for me to do that. And but as we moved along and all. The Women's Basketball Coaches Association, which I'm very big a part of. I was president a few years ago. And then Coach Kay Yao was very special to me, a dear friend. And we have the Kay Yao Cancer Fund. And at that very time, actually, Dr. Muss was actually on rounds the week before. He came by to see me, and we talked about this. And just a few days later, they announced that the Kay Yao Fund gave $1 million to the Lineberger Cancer Center. All right, and I got to be a part of that as well. So this is just a little bit of my journey, and then a part of that was Be the Match. We had 2 or 3 situations at Carmichael during our games where we did Be the Match, because at first I couldn't find a match. None of my brothers or sisters were matches. The best we could find at first was a 7 out of 8, and we didn't know if I was going to need a transplant. But different people were doing the Be the Match. And we've already since then had 2 people that did that for me that have been called up and been perfect matches for other people. So they've saved 2 other people's lives because they were perfect matches. And and even though they did it for me, even though it wasn't a match for me, it was for somebody else and saved their lives. Now, the support system I had was tremendous. Whenever I got sick, I went in the hospital on Saturday. The next morning, one of my girlfriends, when I opened my eyes, was standing there looking at me, and she was actually an oncologist at Vanderbilt. And my girlfriends got together and they did a calendar, and for 7 months I did not spend 1 second by myself. One didn't leave until the other one got there, and trust me, I was high maintenance. All right. In fact, one of the doctors came in one time and he said, "Coach, your biggest problem is going to be cabin fever," And so, but it's so mental when you go through something like this. It is so mental. But Be the Match is really important because of what it does and everything like that. And like I said, the support system I had with my girlfriends and all being there. But from the 12th of October until April 17th, I did not spend 1 second by myself. And again, it was the support that I had, not just from all my girlfriends, but people here. Almost everybody in this room I probably got a card from. I got thousands of cards. I got messages from people all over the United States. In fact, I probably got messages or cards from everybody except President Obama. Okay, and you just don't know how much I appreciate that, But the prayers that people, it was. I felt it daily. It was just unbelievable, the experience I went through. But I cannot say enough things. It's not about Sylvia Hatchell. It's about this wonderful cancer center that we have. And then all my coaching friends out there, I heard from so many coaches and people. Robin Roberts and our good friends, and she stayed up with me because she had gone through a transplant and all. We announced on Monday afternoon about 4:30, that I was going to miss, some time from the team because of leukemia. And the next morning, our host today, Coach Roy Williams, left me this message.
Sylvia, this is Roy Williams. It's Tuesday morning at 10:15. I know you're busy, and needless to say, and things going haywire. I know for 24 days last year I thought I had cancer, and there's just no way that anybody can understand what's going through your mind. No, I'm thinking about you a great deal. Wanda and I talked about it last night, prayed for you last night, and just thinking about you today. That someone has said on the radio this morning that orange was the color for leukemia, so I've got on my orange Augusta National shirt today, and hope you're doing well. Don't worry about trying to return the call. I'll just periodically call and leave messages for you, and then at some point I'll try to talk to you the same here, Van. But know I'm thinking about you, girl. You're a tough bird, though, so hang in there and know you got so much support out here. It's unbelievable. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
You know, and he was right. The support that I had was unbelievable. And a lot of you people in this room provided that for me. I want to ask you to continue to do that. And like I said, I can't say enough of great things about our cancer center. We are so blessed to have them, you know. And trust me, I know them in a way that probably maybe only a few people in this room know them. And so that's why I'm here today, because we just don't realize how blessed we are to have these folks there. And let me tell you, Roy's won championships. You see all the banners here. I've won championships. Now, our Lineberger Cancer Center, they want to be the #1 public cancer center in America. They're close to it, but they're not there yet. All right? I want you to help me and Roy make our Lineberger Cancer Center the #1 public cancer center in America. I need a commitment from you. All right? That's why this chair is up here. I want you to come and see this. The man that sat in this chair for 20-some years before I used it for 20-some years, you know, I mean, he would be right here with us today doing everything he could to help us make this cancer center #1. So I want you to make a commitment today to help Roy and I make the Lineberger Cancer Center the #1 public cancer center in America. All right, and I want to acknowledge Shelley, Ned, Claudio, John. You guys stand up. Debbie, stand up. These guys right here. I would not be here today if it wasn't for these folks. And you know what happened to me? It could happen to you. So please help Roy and I help these folks, because let me tell you, I'm fired up and I'm just getting started. All right? Okay? We're going to make this, and I'm going to get me an exercise room over there too. All right? I'm going to get me an exercise room, but we're going to make this our Lineberger. We're going to make it #1. All right? You guys with me? All right. Thank you.
Over here, dear. Good job. Good job.